vote on this, then we are going to let 410,000.
No, we have 60 days. We have 60 days. We're not going to.
No. Two different things. Two different things. The state gives you they give you an award of a DOT grant, Department of Transportation grant. The clock starts ticking on that when you get that grant. There are different things that have to happen. That's why we voted on this a number of times. We looked at it in the context of the budget, tried to figure out if we needed to add additional monies to that. When it goes out to bid, once we get to the point that it's ready, the engineering-wise, it's ready to go out to bid, and it does, the clock is ticking for us to award. Two different things. The bidder could sue us. That's different from the DOT saying, you no longer have these grant funds because you had 24 months to do this project. And there are certain milestones that you have to hit along the way. So two different things that we're talking about. What I'm talking about is if we decide to not move forward with this, then we will lose $410,000, or he keeps saying $410,000 in grant money.
And possibly
what's the timeline for that, losing that grant?
So we need to award by this year. And if we redo the design, it has to be reapproved again by the DOT, because they need to approve the design in order to ensure we get the funds for it later on when we seek reimbursement.
And I can
so that process, if we make changes to it.
Right, and I can tell you that previous to our administration, because I live on that street, similar type of thing happened on Cornell, and they lost the money on Cornell. So half of my street was paved because they didn't do it within I think it's 24 months. They didn't do it within the 24 months. They lost the DOT money and could only pave a portion of the street. It takes 2 years, believe it or not, for these state federal grants to get it to the point that it can go out to bid and then finally construction. And there's different rules.
We don't even know the timeline. We're talking about this, but we don't know the exact timeline of all this to say that we're going to lose it. But if we don't vote today, we don't know the timeline.
We have to award, for a fact, we have to award by the end of this year, like per the grant.
Okay, so we award by the end of this year if, we still have time.
But if they're going to change the plans,
Right.
and that
Changes the timeline.
changes the timeline. If we're not
So
changing.
what you're saying is that if you don't change the plans and there's a water issue down below, that the town will be responsible for damage.
Our
to the-
engineer isn't going to design a project.
Well, I'm just saying, it doesn't matter how they decide, because the designs have a driveway that says that it's gravel when it's paved. So the designs are not very accurate to begin.
The design is really related to that particular street. And the driveway, the crux of the project are these bioswales and some of the curbing. Right? It's
The
not the
design has the
driveway.
entire area.
I understand.
design.
Listen, I understand that you're just opposed to this, and that's okay.
It's not-
And if anybody else wants to vote no, but at this point, I think that we spent it was a great conversation, and I love that.
That was great.
I-
So what you're saying is that the town will be responsible with the damages that will happen due to this design below.
I
Is that
don't
what
think
you're
she's
saying?
saying that, no.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is a
Why
robust conversation.
wouldn't the town be responsible in that instance, though, if there was damage below because the plan was not the right plan?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call for a second on this resolution. Or did we even read it into?
We did a second.
Well, there was a vote to table it, so now we have to vote on the table.
Okay.
A motion to table in a second, so we need
Okay.
to recall the table, and based on that vote, we either table it or go on to motion the resolution.
Do you agree with that?
We need to vote on the table.
We're gonna vote to table? Is that? No. Vote, it's already been tabled because you had a motion.
No, we didn't
No,
vote to table
we
it.
set a table, made a second, so let's vote.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is a motion to table Resolution 2, awarding a contract to Sabelli & Sons General Contracting for the road recon of Old Farm, Orchard, Mercier project in the amount not to exceed $451,838.45. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Kudo?
On the tabling motion or the?
Voting to
table
table the
it.
resolution.
How long is that money?
So your vote is,
Are you willing to be responsible now?
that's not the question.
It's not the motion, but I'm just saying.
It's not
We
the
can
question.
table
had-
it. Second, and so I'd say no, I don't want to table it if we lose the funds, because we can always add on later. But I don't want to lose the funding. Otherwise, I would, if there was not a funding issue, I would like to table it and have a further discussion.
Yeah, but the vote is to table, so is it yes or no?
The total question, I'm gonna have to say, don't table it right now. Much seconds.
Okay, Mr. Donnelly,
Say yes.
Mr. Foster,
But to say no also.
Mrs. Illis,
I'll say yes, the table.
Mr. Machado,
I have a question. If I were to table it, would we had that, was it 60 days or 30 days?
it should be 60, it potentially could be longer, but I don't have your. But that's a separate.
But that's a separate issue.
Separate issue.
There's two issues. The liability of being sued if we're within the 60 days of the bid laws, and the DOT saying the timelines are running out. Liza's saying we have to award by the end of the year. Paul is saying there's issues with the bid, we would have, and design, it would have to go back out to design. And the likelihood is that there wouldn't be enough time to do all that and still do, and go back, because you gotta remember there are timelines that Anna has for the bid, right? The likelihood is that we may not make that timeline.
So I like to not table it. So I'm not going to table it.
Mrs. Poe, sorry, Mr. Now, and Mrs. Poe.
Do you live up there? You live up there?
I don't live up in that.
I was just wondering, because I was just wondering if that was a conflict, but I'm gonna say I vote
live in
no.
that neighborhood.
Okay.
I live below the neighborhood. And it's part of the West Side Drainage Project, so it's not. really
Okay,
conflict.
well, based on what the mayor has shared with us and all the other information, I vote no.
Okay, so now, can I have a motion to pass?
I don't like that, that's not very kind.
Says figures.
Mm-hmm, yeah, sarcasm, I don't like it. Mm-hmm.
I'll do. Moving a resolution awarding contract to Sefeli and Sons General Contracting for the road recon of Old Farm Orchard Mercier project in the amount not to exceed $451,838.45.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Kudo,
I have to, if I said no to table, I have to say yes to this.
Mrs. Donnelly,
See how?
I'll abstain from the vote.
Mr. Foster,
Yes.
Mrs. Illis, Mr. Machado,
Yes.
Mrs. Poe.
Yes.
Once again, great job, guys.